Have you ever felt like everyone around you has one passion, one path, one purpose, and you're sitting there with 10? You wake up obsessed with guitar. By afternoon, you're deep in a psychology rabbit hole. And by evening, you're sketching a business plan. People say, just pick one thing. But something inside you resists. Maybe that's not a flaw. Maybe that's exactly who you are. Stay with me, because in the next 10 minutes, psychology is going to explain why. 1. You get intensely passionate about something, and then move on. You dive deep into a topic. You try to learn everything about it, buy books, watch tutorials, and talk about it all the time. But after a few months, that passion slowly fades and you shift your attention to a new topic. Most people consider this inconsistency, but psychologists say it is a sign of intense curiosity and a natural desire to learn. When you fully understand a subject, your interest naturally shifts towards something new. This is the first sign. So what exactly is a multipotentialite? This term was introduced by career coach and author Emily Wapnick. It refers to people whose interests, creative pursuits, and passions are not limited to one field, but span many different areas. They do not have just one single purpose or career in life. According to research studies, people who score high in this trait are mentally very curious, have imaginative and creative thinking, are constantly drawn toward new information and new ideas, do not just want breadth, they feel they need it. For them, variety is not a distraction, but a source of energy and life. For women, this matter can be even more different. Especially in women, this trait is often misunderstood. Society generally expects women to stay focused on one path, remain consistent, and settle into a single identity quickly. Because of this, many women with a multipotentialite mind grow up feeling that something is wrong with them, whereas in reality, their brain is simply designed to learn, explore, and experience different things. Now, let's look at the remaining signs. How many of these match your personality? 2. You struggle to answer the question, what do you do? This one question fills you with mild dread at every party or networking event. Because honestly, how do you compress yourself into one sentence? You're a writer who also codes, a teacher who paints, a businesswoman who sings. Your identity doesn't fit neatly into a job title, and that's because you're not a job title. You're a whole universe. 3. You connect dots that others can't see. One of your superpowers is that you can spot patterns across completely different fields. You read a psychology paper and immediately see how it applies to marketing. You study history and suddenly understand a modern political crisis. This ability, called cross-domain thinking, is actually considered a marker of high intelligence and creative problem-solving. Your wandering interests aren't wasted. They're building invisible bridges. 4. You get bored faster than most people. Repetition feels suffocating to you. Once you've learned something or mastered a skill, the motivation drops dramatically. Psychologists link this to a high novelty-seeking drive, connected to dopamine sensitivity. Your brain rewards you intensely for new information, and withholds that reward when things become routine. You're not lazy. You're neurologically designed to chase stimulation. 5. You've had multiple completely different career ideas, sometimes in the same week. One day you want to be a therapist, the next day, a travel photographer. The day after, you're looking into law school. People in your life find this exhausting or amusing, but you feel each of these ideas deeply and authentically. That's because for you, choosing a single path doesn't feel like focus. It feels like amputation. 6. You learn new things faster than average. Because you've already learned so many things, your brain has developed a highly efficient learning system. Researchers call this accelerated learning, the ability to pick up new skills quickly because your mental frameworks are already rich and flexible. You've taught yourself how to learn, and that's one of the most valuable abilities in the modern world. 7. You feel a deep need for meaning in everything you do. You can't just do a job for money alone. You can't stay in a relationship that doesn't intellectually and emotionally stimulate you. You can't follow a routine that doesn't connect to something bigger. Purpose isn't a nice-to-have for you. It's a psychological necessity. Viktor Frankl's theory of logotherapy, the idea that meaning is the primary human motivation, describes your inner life almost perfectly. 8. You often feel most alive during the beginning stages of something new. The excitement of starting, the blank page, the new project, the first lesson, feels electric to you. That feeling of possibility is almost addictive. Psychologists link this to approach motivation, where the anticipation of reward activates your brain's reward circuitry more powerfully than the reward itself. You are peak human during inception. 9. You feel guilty about your many interests. Despite all of this richness inside you, there's often a quiet shame, a voice that says, "You should have figured it out by now. You're wasting your potential by not committing." This guilt is not yours. It was given to you by a society that values specialization above all else. But the world also needs generalists, always has. 10. You feel like you haven't found your thing yet, but you've found many things. Here's the quiet truth. You were never meant to find one thing. That's not your design. You were built to find many things, weave them together, and create something no single focused person ever could. Your thing is the combination. Your thing is you. Now let's talk about something important. How the world has misread you. People have called you unfocused, scattered, indecisive, a jack of all trades, master of none. They've suggested therapy for your inability to commit. Teachers may have said you were inconsistent. Employers may have questioned your career trajectory. Partners may have felt confused by your shifting passions. And family, well, family may have asked when you're finally going to settle down and pick a lane. But here's what they don't understand. Focus is not a virtue on its own. Specialization is a strategy, not a personality requirement. And the people who built the Renaissance, the artists who were also scientists, the philosophers who were also engineers, they weren't unfocused. They were multipotentialite. History's most celebrated minds were exactly what you are, deeply curious about everything. So why are some women wired this way? Psychology points to several reasons. Reason 1, high openness to experience. As mentioned earlier, this Big Five trait is strongly genetic and neurological. Some people are born with brains that are more receptive to novelty, complexity, and abstract ideas. Research consistently shows this trait predicts intellectual curiosity and creative achievement. Reason 2, gifted cognition. Many multipotentialite women show characteristics of intellectual giftedness, not just high IQ, but asynchronous development, emotional intensity, and an inability to limit their thinking to one domain. Giftedness researcher Dabrowski called these traits overexcitabilities, and they're a sign of a deeply alive mind. Reason 3, early environment, that rewarded exploration. If you grew up in a home where books were everywhere, curiosity was celebrated, and you were exposed to multiple disciplines, your brain learned early that the world is endlessly interesting. That learning pattern doesn't switch off. Reason 4, a nervous system that craves stimulation. Some researchers link multipotentiality to higher sensitivity in the nervous system, where understimulation is genuinely uncomfortable. For these individuals, breadth of experience isn't a preference, it's a regulatory need. Reason 5, identity complexity in women. Women in particular are often socialized into singular roles: mother, wife, professional. When a woman's inner world doesn't match these containers, she may feel fragmented. But that fragmentation is often not dysfunction. It's a sign that her authentic self is larger than the role she's been offered. Before we go further, if this video is resonating with you, I want to ask you something. Drop a comment below and tell me, how many interests are you juggling right now? 2, 5, 10? Let's see just how many multipotentialite women are in this community. And if this video is making you feel seen, please give it a like. It genuinely helps more women like you find this content, okay? And let's keep going, because being a multipotentialite woman isn't always easy. Let's talk about the real challenges. Problem 1, decision paralysis. With so many genuine interests, choosing one direction can feel impossible. This isn't indecisiveness. It's an abundance of authentic desire. But without a strategy for channeling it, it can lead to years of starting and stopping without ever building momentum. Problem 2. Imposter syndrome in every field. Because you never go deep enough to feel like an expert, you often feel like a fraud in every space you enter. You compare your breadth to others' depth and come up short, forgetting that depth and breadth are simply different forms of mastery. Problem 3. Exhaustion from trying to fit in. Constantly explaining yourself, constantly defending your choices, is emotionally exhausting. Many multipotentialite women spend enormous energy trying to appear normal to the people around them. That performance has a real psychological cost. Problem 4. Financial instability from career switching. In a world that rewards long tenure and linear career growth, frequent pivots can mean lower salaries, lost benefits, and skeptical employers. The system wasn't built for people like you. And that's a structural problem, not a personal failure. Problem 5. Loneliness and feeling misunderstood. It can be deeply lonely to be someone who doesn't fit neatly into a tribe. The creatives don't quite get you. The academics don't quite get you. The entrepreneurs don't quite get you. You're always a little bit in between, and that in between can be an isolating place. But now, let's talk about what makes you extraordinary. Quality 1. Adaptability. You thrive in change. While others freeze when the world shifts, you reconfigure. Your entire life has been practice for pivoting. And in today's rapidly changing world, this is one of the most sought-after human qualities. Quality 2. Innovation. The most original ideas come from the collision of different fields, and you've been collecting different fields your whole life. You are, essentially, an innovation engine. Quality 3. Empathy across difference. Because you've explored so many worlds, you can understand people from wildly different backgrounds. You've studied their fields, spoken their languages, walked in their conceptual shoes. Your empathy isn't just emotional, it's intellectual. Quality 4. Rapid learning. You've already proven, many times, that you can become competent in a new area quickly. This meta skill makes you dangerous in a positive way. You can enter almost any space and become functional, even excellent, in a fraction of the time it takes others. Quality 5. Resilience. You've reinvented yourself many times. Each time you started over, you didn't lose what you'd built. You carried it with you. That makes you someone who can survive almost anything, because you've already practiced beginning again. Quality 6. Big picture thinking. While specialists dig deep into one tunnel, you're the one flying overhead, seeing how all the tunnels connect. Organizations, communities, and movements desperately need people like you. People who can hold the whole map in their minds. So how do you channel all of this into a life that actually works for you? Advice 1. Stop trying to specialize and start trying to synthesize. Your unique values is not in being the best at one thing. It's in combining multiple things in a way no one else can. Build a career or creative practice around your combination, not your depth in any single area. Advice 2. Create a system for your interests. Instead of trying to pick one, create a rotation, periods where you focus deeply on one thing before cycling to another. This allows you to build genuine skill without forcing false permanence. Advice 3. Find or build your community. Seek out other multipotentialites in online communities, creative collectives, or interdisciplinary spaces. When you meet people who are also too much, you'll realize you were never the problem. Advice 4. Rewrite your resume narrative. Instead of apologizing for your varied path, frame it as strategic agility. Your career isn't scattered, it's rich. Learn to tell that story with confidence. Advice 5. Give yourself permission to be in progress. You don't have to have arrived. You are allowed to still be becoming. The goal isn't a destination. For you, the journey is the destination. Advice 6. Stop measuring yourself against specialists. A generalist and a specialist are not the same kind of excellent. Comparing your breadth to someone else's depth is like comparing a symphony to a solo. Both are music. Both are needed. A message to society. We need to stop asking people to flatten themselves. When someone has many interests, the instinct to help them focus can actually be harmful. The world doesn't just need specialists. It needs connectors. People who can translate between fields, bridge communities, and see what no single discipline expert can see. Multipotentialite women are not confused. They are complex. And complexity, channeled well, changes the world. A message to parents. If you have a daughter who loves too many things, who starts piano and then wants to code, and then wants to write a novel, please don't try to narrow her. Instead, help her learn how to sustain. Teach her to build on what she learns, not abandon it. The goal isn't to pick one dream. The goal is to learn how to carry many dreams at once without dropping herself. And about success, here's what the research and the record both show. Many of history's most impactful figures were multipotentialites: Leonardo da Vinci, Maya Angelou, Benjamin Franklin, Steve Jobs, Oprah Winfrey. These were not people who found one thing and stayed there. They were people who brought their full, multifaceted selves to the world and created things no specialist could have. Your variety is not your obstacle to success. It might be your very path to it. And when it comes to a fulfilling life, a truly happy one, understanding your own wiring is everything. When you stop fighting your nature and start designing around it, when you create a life that has room for your many selves, something shifts. The guilt lifts, the shame fades, and in its place comes something that looks a lot like freedom. You're not too much. You've just been living in spaces that were too small. You are not scattered. You are expansive. You don't need to pick one thing, because you are not one thing. You are a mind built for curiosity, a heart built for meaning, and a life built for more. Every interest you've ever had has been adding to you, not distracting from you. Every field you've explored has given you something no narrow path ever could. You are not a woman who hasn't figured it out. You are a woman who refuses to be reduced, and that is its own kind of greatness. To wrap this up, if you recognized yourself in these 10 signs, if you've always felt too broad, too varied, too restless for the boxes the world offered you, then you may well have an M-type brain. And that's not a diagnosis, it's a description. A description of someone who finds the world endlessly fascinating, who connects things others keep separate, and who is capable of contributing in ways that defy simple categorization. The world doesn't always know what to do with people like you. But that's never stopped people like you from mattering. If this video spoke to you, please give it a like. It genuinely helps this channel reach more women who need to hear this. Share it with a woman in your life who has too many passions and not enough permission to have them. Subscribe if you want more psychology content that helps you understand yourself more deeply. And hit the bell icon so you never miss a new video. Thank you so much for being here. Truly, in a world that constantly asks you to be less, choosing to understand yourself more is a radical and beautiful act. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one.